The death of the cash hoarder. Imagine the exact stroke of midnight on the final day of the month. You open your digital banking application, and right before your terrified eyes, every single unspent dollar in your account violently ticks down to absolute zero. The money does not go to the government. It simply vaporizes into digital dust. The reality? The fundamental human concept of saving money in a traditional bank account is permanently destroyed. Wealth can no longer sit idle. The benefit? Massive, systemic wealth stagnation comes to an aggressive end. The global money supply is forced into a state of constant, violent flow, completely eradicating the hoarding of liquid cash by the top 1%. The catch? The birth of zero balance anxiety. You can absolutely never build a financial safety net in cash. The concept of a rainy day fund is deleted from society. If you suffer a surprise medical emergency or your car breaks down on the first of the month, it becomes a total, inescapable catastrophe because you literally cannot legally save cash to protect yourself. Humanity is forced to live permanently on the razor's edge of the present moment, completely stripped of financial security.
The hypervelocity economy? Because currency is now constantly decaying, it burns a psychological hole in your pocket. People are intensely forced to spend their paycheck the exact second it hits their account. The reality? The global economy accelerates to absolute light speed. Money becomes a literal game of hot potato. The benefit? Main Street businesses experience an absolute unprecedented economic boom. Local restaurants are always packed to the brim, retail stores are permanently sold out, and the economy enters a state of massive, unending stimulation because sitting on cash is heavily penalized by the universe. The catch? The terrifying rise of the trash tsunami. In a desperate panic to get rid of expiring money, human beings would start buying completely useless, mass-produced plastic junk just to convert their dying cash into something physical. The Earth's fragile natural resources would be rapidly and violently depleted. Global landfills would overflow at catastrophic rates as we enter a dark, dystopian era of forced hyperconsumerism, driven entirely by financial fear rather than actual human desire.
The great asset scramble. If you cannot save your generational wealth in digital cash, you are forced to save it in solid physical matter. The reality? Hard assets completely replace cash as the new ultimate savings accounts. The benefit? Tangible, historically significant items like gold bullion, precious jewelry, and fine art instantly skyrocket in true intrinsic value, returning the world to a gold standard mindset. The catch? The housing monopoly cataclysm. The ultra-rich would immediately panic and dump their expiring millions into the only things that truly last: real estate, agricultural land, and clean water supplies. Regular working-class citizens would never be able to buy a house again. Megacorporations would ruthlessly buy up every single inch of available land, simply to park their wealth safely out of the 30-day expiration zone. We would instantly regress into Feudalism 2.0, where a handful of immortal corporations own the entire physical planet, and the rest of humanity simply rents the right to exist.
The shift to daily wages. Getting paid your salary once a month becomes a terrifying death sentence when your paycheck literally begins expiring the very next morning. The reality: the standard monthly and bi-weekly salary systems are permanently abolished across the globe. The benefit? A massive wave of instant gratification for the global working class. You get paid your wages at the exact moment your shift ends, granting you immediate, aggressive purchasing power before you even walk out the door. The catch? The agonizing nightmare of the sink trap. If your apartment rent is due strictly on the first of the month, but the money you earned on the 15th expires before that deadline, your personal finances devolve into a chaotic, mind-breaking juggling act. Citizens would spend hours every single week staring at spreadsheets, desperately calculating the exact expiration dates of dozens of different digital dollars, just to ensure their basic survival bills get paid on time. Financial planning becomes a full-time, exhausting second job. The Day 29 Panic. The end of every single calendar month transforms into a massive global psychological event. The reality? The world descends into total, unavoidable consumer chaos exactly 24 hours before the great expiration midnight. The benefit? The ultimate, undisputed golden age of flash sales. Desperate megacorporations would aggressively drop their prices by 80% to 90% on Day 29, specifically designed to capture the frantic, dying cash from panicking consumers before it evaporates. The catch? Imagine the pure, violent chaos of Black Friday, but it happens every single month, like clockwork. Grocery stores are violently raided. Global banking servers constantly crash under the weight of billion-dollar transactions. And physical riots break out in the streets as millions of terrified people rush to offload their decaying money. The 29th of the month becomes the most dangerous, stressful, and physically exhausting day in modern human history. The golden age of charity. Human psychology possesses a deep biological hatred for waste. If you know with absolute certainty that your hard-earned money is going to disappear at midnight, you refuse to simply let it vanish into thin air. The reality? Global philanthropy becomes a frantic, highly aggressive, last-minute necessity. The benefit? Immediate street-level poverty is heavily alleviated. On the evening of Day 29, regular citizens would tip their exhausted waiters $5,000 for a simple cup of coffee, or dump tens of thousands of dollars into random online GoFundMe campaigns just to ensure the dying wealth goes to a human being who might need it tomorrow. The catch? The creation of the deeply flawed pity economy. Major charities and hospitals would suddenly receive billions of dollars completely overnight. However, because that donated money is also expiring in mere hours, the charities are forced to frantically and recklessly spend it all before midnight. It completely destroys long-term medical research and creates a chaotic, highly inefficient global welfare system based entirely on last-minute panic, rather than calculated systemic support. The collapse of traditional debt. The entire modern banking system is fundamentally built on the concept of lending stable money over 10, 20, or 30 years. The reality? The global credit system, including mortgages, student loans, and business financing, completely and instantly implodes. The benefit? The average citizen is permanently freed from the generational trap of long-term compound interest. You can no longer be held hostage by a 30-year bank loan that bleeds you dry. The catch? The absolute credit freeze. Absolutely no bank on earth is going to lend you $40,000 to buy a new car if they are being paid back in rapidly decaying, expiring cash. Because you cannot borrow money and you cannot save money, you are forced to buy everything outright with hard physical assets. The advanced global economy violently regresses back to an ancient, primitive barter system, where you find yourself trying to trade a herd of cattle or a gold watch just to buy a used Honda Civic. The subscription trap. To completely avoid the agonizing daily headache of managing thousands of expiring dollars, human beings will desperately seek out automated corporate solutions. The reality? Megacorporations step in to save you by creating auto-drain accounts. The benefit? You never have to worry about accidentally losing a single dollar to the midnight expiration clock ever again, because artificial intelligence completely manages your entire financial life for you. The catch? Total, undeniable corporate ownership of your paycheck and your freedom. Massive entities like Amazon, Apple, and Walmart would offer you perma-credits. You direct deposit your expiring salary straight to them, and they convert it into non-expiring digital store points. But overnight, your entire net worth is permanently locked inside one single company's ecosystem. You no longer possess actual money. You just possess corporate rations. They literally dictate exactly what you can eat, wear, and buy.
The Perma-Coin Underworld. Whenever authoritative governments enforce a highly restrictive, suffocating financial rule upon the population, the human black market immediately evolves to find a way around it. The reality? The explosive, violent birth of the global shadow economy. The benefit? Underground citizens invent a true decentralized free market currency, like highly illegal encrypted cryptocurrency or untraceable physical silver coins that absolutely never expires, giving true financial power and savings back to the working class. The catch? The terrifying hunt for the hoarders. The government strictly relies on the 30-day expiration rule to artificially control the entire economy. Anyone caught trading, saving, or hiding non-expiring Perma-Coin would be immediately classified as an extreme financial terrorist. We would witness the rise of intense, heavily armed financial secret police, violently raiding suburban homes in the dead of night, not looking for drugs or weapons, but desperately tearing up floorboards to find illegal, unexpiring wealth.